Greetings and peace, everyone. This is the new Asafo, and I am Kim, your host. Welcome back. I will that everyone strong has been productive thus far. So we're going to continue the strong with another offering from enlightenment and transformation with a new Asafo. So hopefully or willingly, this will stimulate your thoughts and actions for the strong. But before we get started, I did want to go over some announcements to kind of let you know about some of the resources provided through Anu Nation. So anunation.org is the hub website for the Spiritual Center, the Media Center, and the Self-Help Center. There you can sign up for the mailing list so that you'll be kind of, kept abreast of all the current happenings with any of the components of Anu Nation. There are also links to the other websites. So the Spiritual Center, which is seduluhouse.com, is the learning ministry of Anu Nation. And this is where you can go to sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training course. That's for both of them, actually. So you'll also find our monthly webinars listed there as well. So if you're ready to start diving into some of the concepts and calculations of Chief Haru Yuya Asana Nu, the courses are there, including the free starter course, which is Orisha Unlocking Your Inner Power. The Media Center is where you'll find all of the enlightenment and transformation shows. And for those who are new to the courses, this is also part of the videos are also supplemental to the training. So there are over 400 shows there. So if you can't find all of the answers that you need in the course, definitely go back and check out some of the archive shows. So the books aren't the only resources for the class. You'll find tons of information in the show that will help you to digest some of the things covered in that course. And don't forget to subscribe to Enlightenment and Transformation TV on YouTube so that you can go back and listen to, all of those older shows. The Self-Help Center is where you'll find Osiris Life, monthly services, books, and blogs. And you can also schedule consultations here. So alphaomegastore.com is the online botanica, and this is where you can find all of our products and services. So you'll find a lot of the spiritual supplies that you may need for your rituals here. Okay, and that's alphaomegastore.com. All of the materials needed for rituals that are offered through the shows, the webinars and websites, and the course can be found on that website. So there you have it. If you're wondering where to get started, we still get, calls asking, how do I start or where do I sign up for things? Start with anunation.org, and then you can be directed to all of the other sites. And just as a reminder, there are links to schedule readings and ask questions on all of the websites. And so you'll also find a support us link on all of the websites where you can make donations, volunteer, or become a sponsor. So if you're looking to build up your brand, you can view our sponsorship kit by clicking the Sponsor Us field under the Support tab at the top of the pages. Okay, so I will that those announcements help to answer some of your questions in your emails on where to start or where to find certain information. I'm going to go ahead and go straight into the clip and we'll get started.
Reading spiritual prediction and advisal for the year of 2015. In this season now, we're coming into a very interesting time for us in this coming year, and the spiritual forecast, the spiritual gifts that have been presented to us for this coming year of 2015. And, the reason I call them the spiritual gifts is one, because there are things that I do prior to casting to invoke certain energies and invoke certain vibrations and certain awarenesses within myself and outside of myself. And then once the information comes through, there are certain things that I do at that point to thank those energies for presenting clear, nutritious, and beneficial information. The Ifa Odu has shared with us the sacred Odu of Oturopondi. And Oturopondi is a very maternal Odu, very, very maternal Odu. In fact, it is the Odu Oturopon that has implications towards the mothers of the great mother. D, or ED, as I've expressed and shared before, speaks to the womb. Okay, speaks to the earth. In fact, it is the governing energy of the south quadrant on our casting surface. South quadrant representing earth. So it's dealing with not only your groundedness, but it's dealing with your relationships with people. So it is that energy of receptivity that typifies what we're coming into for 2015. But not just receptivity, it is the energy of humility. And it's the humility that reminds us that we must commune with Oduduwa. Oduduwa will be very present and very active in this coming year. Okay. And for those of you who have not listened to the show I did on Oduduwa, I would advise you to go back and check it out in the archives, or you can go to enlightenmentandtransformation.com, put in the search bar ODU DUWA. ODU DUWA. That's Oduduwa. And if you put that in the search window in enlightenmentandtransformation.com, you'll find the Oduduwa show. Okay. But you'll understand that she's the great maternal aspect. Even as we speak about, and a lot of people say that Oduduwa was a king, a Yoruba king, so they would call Oduduwa he. But if you listen to that show, you'll understand why I am saying she. So even in the great triad of Obatala, Orunmila, and Oduduwa, you'll find that Oduduwa is the only feminine energy present. What we're going to learn and what we're going to really have to master is our repositioning, reframing, and realigning with our current and original spiritual goals, more so our original spiritual goals, because that's what will get hemmed up this year with not being able to go into a more yin place. It is our yang executions that will trip us up. So this is a season now where we learn to pick the low-hanging fruit. So the grand advice in that is that do not climb high in this season. Do not climb high. You will be shot and shaken out of the tree. Okay, so you want to pick the fruit. If you're 6 feet tall and all of the fruit that you've been picking off the tree has been no higher than 6.5 to 7 feet, that's the fruit that you keep picking this year. This year, do not take on any large projects, no big projects. You want to get in touch with the reality of what is in this season. You want to get in touch with the reality of what is. I can't stress that enough. Very importantly, this is a season now where you anchor back to your spirituality. Okay, this is destined to be a very spiritual year for us. This is not a year of gigantic pursuits into the world. This is not a year where we go leave giant marks in society. In fact, this is a year where we strive to almost become invisible to society. This is the year where 2015, where we continue to do the things that we've been doing all along, but tightening and refining our current routines. Okay. And we will find joy in tightening up what we already have. Do not reach forward to large ambitions, but do things in a very small way in this time. Take things at a very small increment at this time. Be like the mare. The mare is a horse. One of the reasons it's symbols because the horse runs on the earth, right? So because it's running on the earth, it's grounded. Okay. But it responds to the male horse. It always follows the male horse. Okay, so being in that, what it does is it learns its situations and learns how to adapt to those situations. Okay, it learns the situations and learns how to adapt. That's why the epitome, often, if we could really look at it, of feminine energy is the Yemoja energy. And if you know anything about Yemojas, they don't like change. They don't like when you start switching things up. Just like a mother doesn't like when things are switched up, because why? She has a routine, and her power comes from her routine. Her power comes from being able to do the same thing and do it consistently and do it in a way where it's pragmatic and practical and realistic. That's where her power comes from her grasp on reality. So I know when we look beyond reality and we look at, well, what could be, and of course, oftentimes we're excited by the thought of what could be, and we should be. We should imagine things. We should even dream. You know, nothing's wrong with any of that. But there's an ebb and flow of the seasons that we go through, and there's a season to do that, and there's a season not to do that. This is a season where we don't do that. Okay, so I will stress that again. This is the season for you where you pull back. Okay, you pull back and you learn to really master your ability to be receptive. And I don't want you to look at receptivity as surrendering to your situation. It's not surrendering at all. It's learning the situation. Sometimes when you allow things to happen on their own, as opposed to fighting them, you get to actually see and understand and get the wisdom of what's really happening. You know, it's almost similar to being violated by someone who you know you can enact a legal recourse on. It's in fact better to let them violate you sometimes than it is to fight them, because at least if you let them violate you, you get to learn exactly what their intention is or was. And then your power comes from being able to bring that back up again, cite that, and use that against them. So this is your season of the eye. This is your season of watching and seeing and responding, as opposed to being as proactive. Very important for us in the coming year. And the sacred Odu of Oturopon D tells us that it is the meandering and the wandering away from our spiritual core values and spiritual intentions, or our ori, that is causing most of the problems in our world right now. This is a time now where we go silent and we go into the temple. Going silent and going into the temple is being like a monk. You know, if you go past a monk's temple, you don't know who's in there. Everyone's dressed the same. Everyone has the same haircut. Everybody eats the same food. Everybody chants together. So they're almost invisible in a sense. It would be the greatest place to hide, at least if it's a monastery or a temple that where the people in there from your same ethnic group, at least. It will be the greatest place for you to hide. But within that space is great power, because it is through their consistency and their collectivism that they're able to generate a level of consistency that they don't lose, because they're not using it to go engage in any great wars or projects or initiatives. They're actually storing it up. You see?
Okay, welcome back. Again, I'm Kim, your host. This is a new Asafo, and thank you for taking time out of your day to check us out. So, I wanted to do a show real quick, just doing a recap of the year for 2015. And so, as you know, if you're a regular listener, Chief always does a reading for the financial new year. And so for 2015, that clip came from that particular show. And again, you can go to Enlightenment and Transformation TV to listen to the entire show. Um, but that clip explained the Odu that was given for the year of 2015, and how, and it tells us, kind of gives us some insight on how to move throughout the year. And so for 2015, it was Oturpon D. And this, as you heard him describe in the clip, is a maternal Odu. And so he also said that the word D, or a D, is the womb. So we all know from our studies what the word, what womb implies. But before I get too far into that, I did want to bring up something else that he said right before all of that. And that was when he went on to explain the sacredness of a reading. And I wanted to talk about it just for a second, just because nowadays, if you're looking to have a reading done, there's so many people that do it. And I'm not really sure. It's so commercial now that I'm not sure that people really realize what goes into having a reading done. So, as you heard, he said that there are certain energies that come through, and that he gives honor to or thanks to for helping them, or in assisting him to do the reading for that person. And I think that sometimes when we get a reading, we just we almost think it's like a tarot card reading, or well, I don't even want to insult tarot cards that way, but like a just kind of like a dime store kind of psychic kind of thing going on here. And that's not the case at all. It takes a lot of energy, and there's several offerings made. It's a lot of work. It's not just, you know, uh, it's not a very casual thing. So I want you all to think about that the next time you get a reading, and so that you'll know also how serious to take it. These energies are coming through, doing a service for you. So I just wanted to say that, and then I'll go ahead and talk about the Odu for 2015. And I was just wondering, if anyone remembers that Odu, and if you kind of took heed to some of the advice that was given. And so, as we know, the key to that Odu was receptivity and humility. And like we said, it describes the womb, or this strong, super strong feminine energy. And so the womb, as we know, is a negative energy. So it receives things. It's just like the earth, as you heard in the clip. So this also represents a lot of chaos and darkness. Um, but when, like you said in the clip, when you say receptivity, or even humility, a lot of people have kind of a negative outlook on these two words. And I would say recently I was looking at something online, and it was pertaining to women. And we got into it was getting into the whole topic of submission and things like this. And I think a lot of women see weakness in being receptive or submissive to something. And whether you're aware of it or not, that is what feminine energy is. And so during the clip, you heard him speak about the energy of Yemoja, which is a very feminine energy, as well as Oshun. And he spoke on Oduduwa being one of like the ultimate feminine energies. Odu meaning womb as well, Du meaning black. And so you have something like the power of the black womb. And this is why that energy is feminine. But when I was thinking about it, something came to mind, because I actually had a chance to do some spiritual work this past strong in with two of my sisters. And one of the things that you do sometimes when you are working with energies is we will say Bale, or and this is a prostration that you do when working with us, when working with the energies. And so what that word means is to prostrate, but to break your sword. And this means that you are coming into these energies very humble. You have to bend. So if your body's like a sword, you're breaking your sword. So you have to bend and prostrate before these energies, and it shows humility. So this is another feminine gesture, if you will. Um, but another thing that was stated was that during the year of 2015, we were supposed to realign with our original spiritual goals, or to anchor back to your spirituality. And this is very important as well, because sometimes just throughout the day, or throughout, just going to work or going to school or whatever it is that you do every strong, we can, lose track of what it is we're originally set out to do. You know, um, that's the deal with the spirit. As we know, the spirit can always be corrupted. So sometimes we let work or just daily stress and everything kind of misalign us, and we kind of forget what our spiritual goals were. So 2015 was the year to get back to that. And you could have done this with mission statements. There was a show that Chief did once on mission statements for your families and for yourselves, or for your business, whatever your spiritual goal was for 2015. And so another thing that was said is, he said, don't take on big projects. So this was really, I think, in my opinion, was like a reflective year to kind of pull back and just like do a check in, check your spiritual goals, make sure your spirit is in alignment with your soul, um, and see what steps you have taken throughout the year to reach those goals. And so it wasn't so much about action; it was trying to strengthen your original plan. You know, um, and that's the importance of seasons. He spoke on that as well, the ebb and flow of seasons. Sometimes there's a time to be active, and there's a time to kind of pull back a little bit and see what's really going on. And I know that can be like so hard to do, because we're always told to, we got to be active, we got to show some action, we got to get some action. And sometimes a lot of us feel like we may not be making any progress if we're not actively doing something. We feel like, especially with January 1st coming around, it's like everybody has these New Year's resolutions. And so we want to just jump right in and get started, doing something. But the problem with that is it's like, after the first week or so, a lot of us may drop off. But this was the year to pull back and kind of regroup, or to strengthen those things that you really, I don't want to say believe in, but strengthen those things that you set out to do. Strengthen your mission, or to define your mission even more. Um, and I like the example that he used when he was saying about sometimes you have to, uh, again, be receptive and exercise that feminine energy by just kind of letting things happen and not engaging your enemy, or whatever it is that you feel is against you. And sometimes this person's intentions will be shown if you just kind of pull back and let things happen. And again, this is really hard to do, because when we feel like we're under attack, or that someone's coming up against us, we want to engage in that fight. It's pretty tough to just kind of sit back and kind of let things happen. But again, this is that power of feminine energy, uh, of being receptive. And again, being receptive, or being humble and submissive, is not a weak action, because the power comes in that ability to transform things, which is what he said usually happens when you sit back and let things kind of happen. That's when that power comes in, because you just kind of let them, play the thing out. And guess what? In the end, all things are revealed. And when I heard that, it reminded me of a line that I saw on this show once that I watch all the time. And the quote is, what a martyr loves more than anything is a sword to fall on. So you sharpen the blade, hold it at just the right angle, and then 3, 2, 1. So it's like, you know, to me, that was like a really, really strong quote, because, this person was just kind of playing them the entire time. They knew what type of personality they were. They knew what their plan was. They were aware of it. And even though the person thought that they were getting over on him, he was in control the entire time. That's the power of being receptive, just sitting back and allowing things to happen. So, like he said, most martyrs would love a cause to die for, or a cause to, you know, just, throw themselves into. So that's what he did. He provided the sword. And so sometimes that's what that receptivity, or that feminine energy requires, for you to just let it happen, and and things will take its course naturally. You know, may sound harsh, but the way he used it when he said allowing yourself to be violated. But again, that demonstrates the power of that feminine energy. And one other thing I wanted to add was that he stated in the clip, she stated in the clip that wandering away from our Ori is what's causing most of our problems. And this is very, very, very true. As I said earlier, something that we have to pay attention to is the difference between our soul and spirit being that energy about us that can be corruptible. So every day, when you leave the house, if you go to work or if you work, in an office with hundreds of other people, like a call center or something like that, your spirit is constantly being corrupted, just in the different environments that you go into. So again, that year of 2015, it's like the check-in year. Sometimes we have to come back and see how our spirit is aligned with that Ori to make sure we just kind of stay on task and stick to our mission statement. Again, go back and check out that show on mission statements. This is something that I think, will help out tremendously. I like using the mission statement and vision boards. I know I made a vision board for myself for this upcoming year. And every dawning, I get up and I spend like a few minutes with it to, just kind of align myself and to remember what am I setting out to do. And so I try, well, don't want to say try. I make sure that anything outside of that is eliminated. And that's just the kind of focus we have to have sometimes because our spirit is so corruptible. So uh, keeping that Ori aligned with the spirit and keeping up with your mission statement and your plan is very important. So I will that 2015 went well for you, and you should stay tuned. Again, I think the last show of this year is going to be tomorrow, and that is Thunderground Thursday. So I'm not sure if Chief is going to do um, a reading for the next year tomorrow, or if he'll wait until after the new year. Not sure, but make sure you stay tuned. It's Thunderground Thursdays are always good. So we will see you all tomorrow. And if you are planning to go out and celebrate, be safe. And I wanted to mention something before I left. We are changing up the format of all the shows starting in January. So stay tuned for that. We will still be broadcasting on Blog Talk on Sundays, but the shows are going to be combined now into one service. So I think you'll enjoy it a whole lot. And continue to subscribe to our YouTube channels, not Sadulu House, excuse me, Anu Nation, Orisha Yoruba, and Enlightenment and Transformation TV. And also make sure you go to seduluhouse.com/events. Our next webinar is on January 9th, which is a Saturday. And this particular webinar is going to be on meditation. So I'm looking forward to that. And I will that you all get registered. It's really easy. Just seduluhouse.com/events. You click that particular event and you register for it. And actually, all of the webinars that we'll have for the year of 2016 are already up. So you can actually just pick the one you would like to attend and you can go ahead and register for it. So looking forward to that in January. And I will that 2015 was productive for you and that you are ready to take on a new year with a new plan with a new nation. So until then, I will speak with you all next year. Peace.